Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Isn't it something how the memories that make you just, bury your face in your hands,
Mhm.
those utterly mortifying moments from your younger years often hold the most crucial clues to understanding who you've become?
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? The experiences we'd rather forget often carve the deepest grooves in our personal narrative.
Well, that's exactly the territory we're exploring today as we delve into Seamus O'Rourke's memoir, Leaning on Gates.
Ah, yes. Great read.
It really is. Think of it as well, a nostalgic, often hilarious trip back to rural 1980s Ireland, all through the eyes of a young man navigating late adolescence and early adulthood.
Right, we're talking first jobs that go sideways, the bewildering world of early relationships.
Definitely. And just searching for your place in a really tightly knit community. It's a memoir, a genre that really captures the essence of growing up.
And what resonated with me was the way O'Rourke, he's rooted in this very specific time and place, rural Ireland in the 80s, but he taps into these incredibly universal feelings.
Oh,
That awkwardness, that yearning for connection, those tentative steps into independence. They're experiences that, transcend geography and generations.
absolutely. What I particularly loved about Leaning on Gates was O'Rourke's sharp wit. He just has this wonderful ability to find the humor in the often clumsy reality of youth.
Hmm.
I found myself actually laughing along with his misadventures. Plus, he paints such a vivid and authentic picture of rural Irish life back then. You really feel like you're right there with him.
Yeah, the details he includes, they really bring that era and that community to life. The descriptions of local events, the dynamics between neighbors, it all creates this rich and immersive backdrop for his story.
Now, if I had to pick something I didn't love, and this isn't a spoiler, really, I'd say that maybe at times the narrative mirrored the uncertainty of that life stage a little too closely. It occasionally felt a bit meandering.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And there are moments where I felt, a bit of a yearning for maybe more reflection from his present day perspective on the significance of certain events, just a touch more.
That's an interesting point. Perhaps the less structured feel, though, contributes to the authenticity, kind of mirrors the lack of a clear roadmap people have during those years.
That's fair.
But I can definitely see how a bit more hindsight could have added another layer, sure.
Overall, though, I'd give Leaning on Gates a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's funny, it's genuinely relatable, just a great journey through those sometimes embarrassing, always formative years.
Agreed. A strong 4 stars.
So today, we're going to, lean into Seamus O'Rourke's experiences and see what they reveal about this universal experience of coming of age.
Okay.
Let's start by unpacking his experience around his 18th birthday. He describes this almost comical feeling of being on the bottom rung. What struck you about that part?
Well, it's the real disconnect between expectation and reality, isn't it? There's this huge societal buildup around reaching adulthood, this presumed moment of transformation.
Right, you're suddenly adult.
Exactly. Yet for Seamus, it's just marked by a continuation of the same faces in the parish hall, the same social dynamics. It really highlights how that internal sense of becoming an adult doesn't automatically translate into some tangible external shift. It
Yeah.
makes you consider how much emphasis we place on these, well, pretty arbitrary age-based milestones.
Exactly. And his description of the parish hall itself is so evocative. This space that's supposed to be a hub of community life,
Mm.
sometimes even hosting local theater with a touch of magic, but mostly just existing.
Mm.
A bit uninspiring, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Kind of functional.
And really sets the stage for this somewhat anticlimactic entry into adulthood, he feels.
Yeah.
Then you have characters like Pat Fitzpatrick, this bachelor who is just single-mindedly searching for the right dance partner. It's humorous, but what does it tell us about the social fabric there?
Oh, Pat's meticulous, almost strategic approach to finding a dance partner, someone who meets these unspoken criteria and is also a capable dancer. It really eliminates the subtle social hierarchies and aspirations within that rural setting.
Yeah, the unspoken rules.
And the fact that his mother is involved in this quest just adds another layer to those close-knit community dynamics and, the expectations placed upon individuals.
And then there's the unforgettable Joe Clamping McGuire, who just bursts into the hall with this larger-than-life presence.
Mm.
O'Rourke paints him as sort of ageless, somewhere between 50 and 80, perpetually with a cigarette, and utterly unburdened by social conventions.
Uh-huh.
What did you make of Joe's role?
Joe is a fascinating study in contrast, really. He's this almost disruptive force, someone who operates completely outside the usual social norms. While Seamus is navigating all the anxieties of fitting in, Joe seems completely at ease in his own skin, despite, or maybe because of his unconventional ways. His bluntness and his, total lack of concern for what others think provide a real counterpoint to Seamus's self-consciousness. It prompts you to think about the different ways individuals navigate social spaces and maybe the freedom that can come with not adhering strictly to perceived rules.
Right. The anecdotes about his interactions with the women, his almost relentless yet seemingly good-natured invitations to dance, even when met with clear disinterest. It's both funny and a little perplexing.
It is, yeah.
And his pronouncements, like announcing Pat McKenna as a horrid, decent man because his tractor caught fire while he was supposedly still in bed, it's such a wonderfully bizarre and specific kind of humor. What do these moments reveal about the community's way of interacting?
It suggests a level of familiarity and acceptance, I think, even of eccentricities. There's a certain tolerance for Joe's unconventional behavior, perhaps because he's just a known quantity within the community.
True. Part of the furniture, almost.
And the humor often seems to stem from these shared understandings and, inside jokes. As Seamus reflects later, Joe teaches him that life is not about what we perceive to be great or worthy or worthwhile. Life is in the detail. It's about pushing through the doors, about never surrendering, and maybe sometimes causing a stir. That's a powerful early lesson about embracing life's messiness.
That's a fantastic takeaway. It's like the Joe embodies this uninhibited engagement with life, whereas the younger Seamus is still trying to, decode the rules. Later in the book, there's a really telling moment during a football match where Seamus gets injured. What did his reaction to that injury reveal to you?
It immediately highlights his priorities, doesn't it? And the realities of his young life. His first thoughts are about his ability to work and then his ability to play football.
Yeah, practicalities first.
This underscores the significance of physical labor and his identity as a footballer in his world at that time. It gives us a glimpse into the practical concerns and, the sources of self-worth within that community.
And the subsequent trip to the hospital in Sligo to get his stitches out is almost a masterclass in awkward, relatable humor. The ill-fitting gowns, the mortifying experience of waiting naked in a public area.
Oh, gosh.
Even leaving behind remnants of his paper suit. It's embarrassing, but also so inherently human. Have you ever had one of those moments where the mundane just turns utterly absurd?
Absolutely. Those are definitely the moments that stick with you, aren't they? And his self-consciousness about his considerable arse being on display just adds another layer of relatable vulnerability to the humor.
Totally.
It's a reminder that even in moments of, physical discomfort, our awareness of social perception persists. It doesn't just switch off.
Then we see him exploring Macrana Fermi, the Young Farmers Organization. He goes in with pretty low expectations, apparently, but is surprised by the dynamism and the sheer variety of activities, from plowing matches to talent shows and tractor reversing competitions. What does this episode tell us about Seamus's journey?
Well, it marks a significant broadening of his horizons. He discovers this whole realm of social interaction and activity that exists beyond his immediate spheres of, work and football.
Right. A new world.
It's an opportunity for him to connect with like-minded individuals, maybe develop new skills, and find a sense of belonging in a different context. His admiration for their ideas and their organizational skills suggests a growing desire for something more, perhaps.
And it's through Macrana Fermi that he's almost pushed into public speaking for the first time. She describes himself as shy and lacking in substance, but his friend Pat Mitchell gives him that nudge. It seems like a pivotal moment in him stepping outside his comfort zone. Can you recall a moment where you were similarly pushed?
Oh, definitely. Those moments of being gently, or sometimes not so gently, forced out of our comfort zones often lead to unexpected growth. For Seamus, that initial discomfort and reluctance are followed by the surprising realization that he actually has something to say and can connect with an audience. It's a classic example of how pushing our boundaries can reveal hidden capabilities and, build confidence.
Later in the book, there's the trip to America to play football. He approaches it with this very grounded, almost skeptical view, questioning the point when they could just stay home. But that experience in New York seems to have a profound, albeit perhaps unexpected, impact on him. What did you take away from his time there?
The sheer contrast, I think, Between rural Ireland and the energy of New York, it's just a shock to his system, in a way. He's exposed to different ways of life, different attitudes towards work and social interaction. His experiences working with Shovels McGrath on the construction site are particularly formative, I think,
Oh, yeah.
throwing him into a really demanding and very different environment.
Oh, Shovels. What a character. This completely no-nonsense foreman who immediately dubs him Leitrim and has, like, zero tolerance for
Yeah.
inexperience.
Tough boss.
The driving incident in the Brown Transit, his hilarious attempt to avoid driving on the wrong side of the road, which backfires so spectacularly. It's pure comedy. But beyond the humor, what's the underlying significance of these encounters?
It's a trial by fire, really. It forces Seamus to adapt quickly to a completely new set of circumstances. Shovels, despite his gruff exterior, seems to impart a certain resilience and a no-nonsense approach to just getting things done.
Right. Get on with it.
And the driving incident, while funny, just underscores the challenges of navigating unfamiliar environments and the sometimes humiliating process of learning new things. We've all been there.
And then there's the unforgettable mishap with the $100 bill at Mass, accidentally donating a huge chunk of his wages. It's such a perfect illustration of the financial missteps and hard-learned lessons that often mark those early adult years. Can you think of a similar financial blunder from your own youth? Oh boy.
Oh, those moments of financial clumsiness definitely leave a lasting impression. For Seamus, the internal conflict of whether to even try and retrieve the money is so relatable.
So awkward.
It's a high-stakes, comical error that really highlights the financial vulnerability and naivete of that stage of life.
The book also touches on his evolving relationship with alcohol. The football club trip to Kerry is where he has his first proper experience with pints, as he puts it. It's not presented as some dramatic turning point, but more of a gradual integration of drinking into his social life. What's notable about O'Rourke's portrayal of this?
It's presented very matter-of-factly, isn't it? Without any particular drama or moralizing. It just reflects how these social norms are often absorbed and experimented with during young adulthood.
Yeah, just part of growing up then.
It's another step in navigating social expectations and finding his place within his peer group.
And the quiet conversations with his father about drinking are so understated yet quite profound. His father's simple advice, a few drinks are nice if you can leave it at a few. Some can't leave it at a few. It's wisdom delivered without any fanfare or judgment. What does that tell us about their relationship?
It speaks to a relationship built on a quiet understanding, I think, and a subtle form of guidance. There's trust there, and a lack of overt lecturing. It allows Seamus the space to learn and experience things for himself, while still having that grounding wisdom from his father in the background.
Towards the end of the book, he becomes involved with the local drama group and the eventual creation of the Cornmill Theatre. This seems like a real turning point, maybe a discovery of a new passion and a different kind of community. How significant do you think this was for his development?
Oh, hugely significant, I'd say. It provides him with a creative outlet, a sense of purpose beyond the more traditional roles he'd inhabited until then, farmer, footballer.
Right.
His initial nervousness about being on stage contrasts really sharply with the eventual sense of belonging and excitement he finds in the theater community. It's a discovery of a whole new facet of his identity.
And throughout all these experiences, there's this constant undercurrent of his connection to his family and his rural roots. Even when he's off in Dublin or New York, that link to home remains a really powerful force. Why do you think that grounding is so central to his story?
Well, that grounding in family and community provides a stable foundation amidst all the changes and uncertainties of youth. It's a source of identity and belonging that he can always return to, even as he explores new horizons.
A touchstone.
Exactly. The anecdotes about his parents and their reactions to his various adventures are both humorous and deeply affectionate, highlighting the enduring bonds of family.
Absolutely. Leaning on Gates really captures that messy, awkward, but ultimately vital period of early adulthood. It's just a great reminder that those cringeworthy moments and uncertain steps are all part of the essential process of figuring out who you are.
And that with the passage of time, there's often a good dose of humor to be found in looking back at those times, even if they felt anything but funny in the moment. So true. So if you've ever had a memory pop into your head that makes you wince, but also maybe recognize that it played a role in shaping who you are today, we wholeheartedly recommend checking out Leaning on Gates by Seamus O'Rourke. We've included a link to it on Amazon in the description below for your convenience.
And if you found this deep dive into O'Rourke's experiences insightful and entertaining, Please do give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss our future explorations into fascinating stories and ideas.
Yes, please. We'd absolutely love to hear your own stories, too. What's one of your most memorable, embarrassing, but essential moments from your youth? Share it with us in the comment section below.
Go on, don't be shy.
Or pass this deep dive along to someone who you think might relate. Thanks so much for tuning in.